Welcome to Turning Hard Times to Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, talking to you from New York City, the borough of Queens, on the 11th day of January 2022. And before I talk more about today's show, I do like to remind you I write a newsletter called Jay Taylor's Gold Energy and Tech Stocks, and you can sign up for that by going to miningstocks.com. We like to also encourage you to consider signing up for Chen Lin's letter, What is Chen Buying, What is Chen Selling? Go to chenpicks.com. And we're going to hear from Chen in just a minute, and you might get an idea of what his thoughts are as we get underway in this new year. I want to thank each of you for listening to the show, making it one of the more popular shows in the Voice America Business Channel. Also encourage you to send along your comments, questions, whatever's on your mind. Send them along to questionsfortaylor@gmail.com. Questions, the number 4 Taylor@gmail.com. We do want to thank our sponsors. This week's sponsors: Novo Resources, El Oro Resources, Hannon Metals, Irving Resources, Lion One Metals, SK Mining Corp., Firefox Gold, and Timberline Resources. I've titled today's show, Has Capitalism Failed? Doug Casey, Chen Lin, and Dr. Quentin Henning return as guests this week. Not only rhetoric, but policies of the Biden administration look more akin to those of fascist or communist dictatorships than a free market capitalist system. While America never had a perfectly free market capitalist system, thanks to both Republican and Democrat parties, it is now hard to discern economic policies much different from fascist or communist government policies, as our choice to engage in commerce is increasingly replaced by big government dictates. Yet Americans seem not to care much about civil liberties or those kind of freedoms, as evidenced by the demolition of our First Amendment rights through big tech censorship aimed at giving in to Democratic Party dictatorial power demands. As the middle class dwindles and the top 1% own nearly all of American wealth, the middle class is rapidly moving towards abject poverty, as stimulus checks from Uncle Joe are quickly losing value thanks to massive inflation caused by endless quantitative easing programs. Yet Americans who vote on either side of the aisle tend to make their decisions not on the basis of classical logic, but rather more on emotions than anything else. Doug will help us ferret out what has led to a decline in America's living standards and in the quest for liberty on the part of people. It is the capitalist system that has failed, is it? Or is it the fault of the politicians that simply pulled the stable construct of capitalism out from under its foundation? Well, these are ideas and questions that we'll have for Doug in the second half of today's show. Quentin will update us on the progress Lion One Metals is making on its Tuva 2 project. It's an alkaline gold project that looks very, very large and very promising. That's in Fiji, and Quentin will be with us right after our first commercial break to update us on that. But right now, I'm happy to tell you that Chen Lin is here, and to help us get his views, he's here to share his views, I should say, on how he views the world as we start this new year. Thanks for joining me, Chen.
Thank you, Jay. Glad to be here.
It's good to have you with us, and maybe just in general, your views on the markets as we move into this year.
Yeah, just as I did in a Kitco interview, the Fed is raising interest rate, the second shoe to drop. Historically, that's usually a good buying opportunity, and there's also divergency because the United States raising interest rate and China is cutting interest rate. That happened twice in the past decade, and every time goes to the bottom and move up. One is 2014 to 16. One is 2018. So you look at all the history, seems to me that gold may weaken into the Fed raising, maybe, March, April, also seasonal after Chinese New Year, gold tend to sell off. And that would create a good buying opportunity sometime this year. I'm not sure, 100% sure when, but I think it's coming sometime this year.
So you see a short-term buying opportunity now for gold, but you're worried that as the rates continue to rise, there could be some weakness, I guess.
Oh, actually, no. I think a short-term weakness. I mean, a couple of months weakness, and then we will likely enter a long bull market of gold. As soon as the market figure out the Fed cannot raise interest rate for too long, when people see the light at the end of the tunnel when Fed is raising, right? When Fed raising interest rates, gold will jump. It will be a bottom. So I see that a good opportunity for gold this year.
Well, certainly the Fed is trying to keep people convinced or believing that they have things under control. And today, though, we saw a couple of pretty weak days, and especially in the tech sector. And now today, it seems as though it was. I think starting yesterday, actually, the interest rates, the 10-year Treasury went a little bit lower, and it's continuing lower today. I see the dollar is lower today. We just never know, do we, where the Fed, how far they'll take it, how far they'll let interest rates go, because they know as well as anybody that if they push interest rates too high, too fast, the whole thing could collapse, the whole financial system.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I think just as I said yesterday morning, I came out, I said buying gold yesterday, right, when the gold was below 1,800. I said, the Fed will speak, power will speak. This week he will babysit, right? He was tough last week. He probably will be a little bit softer this week. That's exactly what we got today. So actually, we just as we said, we chatted before the show, I'm taking a little bit off, right? So tomorrow is CPI. Who knows where it is? It could be strong. And, if it's gold continue to go up, I may take a little bit more off. Because right now it seems to be range bound. It's almost perfect triangular. Around 1830 to 40, 50 area, that's the top of the range. And then 1790 is the bottom of range. So we can just trade around waiting for the gold to move. I think the gold will break out. But it may break down first to take out over the weekend and then before takeout. If you look at the gold chart, in the 5-year chart, it's a perfect triangular, and tightening triangular. So it's a technical that will break out either direction.
Chen, I have to ask you about, before I ask you about biotechs, I wonder, do you have any views on energy, oil and gas?
Yeah, I think energy will likely be high for the time being. And, there's all these geopolitics and Iran, all these things. And it's hard for supply to respond. So I expect higher energy price, especially this winter. So, but, it's good trade for energy, for sure.
Yeah, and I know that you had been involved in the various energy picks in the past. Are there any this year that you're looking at? I know.
Oh, I'm not very particular. I'm kind of like just cheap one, right? People don't care. Canada has been good. Pan-Orin, I think this year will be a good year. I mean, I always discussing my outlook, and Tech Cominco. That's actually looks very good. Tech resource. I mean, it looks very good to break out the 5-year chart. They also have a lot of energy inside. In addition, they have a zinc and copper. So there's a lot of plays you can do in energy. But I'm more focused on gold. I think this year could be the opportunity to get
Okay, but you're
for the breakout.
Yeah, well, you're focused on gold, the precious metals, but what about biotechs? Because that's where you've really excelled in the recent years anyway. You've done extremely well, and I know you have some favorite biotechs that I myself am following, and I'm following in my newsletter. Maybe you could just share a couple of those ideas with our listeners?
Yeah, I had interview early this year. Basically, I have 6 picks. I have 3 in biotech, 3 in gold. Right, gold, precious metal. Precious metal are the Firefox and Cerro Pasco and Sierra Metal. But the Firefox, Cerro Pasco probably the 2 most exciting ones. Biotech, I have Tricida and Snapgenics and Amyris. Right, Tricida has been really well, did very well. Yes. Last year was one of the most difficult years, but we did very well. The stock actually went up from $3 and change now to $9 change, about to break to 10. But it's still very, very undervalued because, as you see, they have a new presentation. Their trial results coming out in the middle of this year, Q3. They will stop in Q2, and then Q3 data come out, and the chance of success is 99%. So it's like it cannot be better than that. And that's why Steve Cohen was buying last year. I mean, actually, throughout last year, I was, competing. Me and my subscriber were competing with Steve Cohen at about $3 and $4 range. Now it's $9, but still it's a lot of runway because once they get approval, this is a triple-digit stock. So you can imagine, when I put that newsletter, I said this could be 100-bagger. So we'll see. So that's one doing well, but it's a long way to go. Okay, and then we have Snapgenics, and finally start moving today. They have a poster coming out in Alzheimer's journal. Just talking with the company on their, the article and how much impact to the market. But stock has been moving now. And they also have a lot of catalysts coming. Their Alzheimer is different than Biogen and all the other. They can reverse Alzheimer. Okay, so basically, instead of slowing down Alzheimer, like most other Alzheimer drug is doing, they can reverse Alzheimer. They can repair the cell. So that's their uniqueness. And then their trial is sponsored by NIH, and not many companies have NIH sponsor. So they have trial sponsored by NIH. Data readout by the end of this year. So that will be could be a human important milestone for human history if they are successful. And this is a very it will be very exciting. And they're still trading not far from the last placement. So it's very cheap at single digit. And another one is Amyris. Amyris having a run today. They're going to have a presentation at J.P. Morgan tomorrow about 12:15 Eastern Time. So the stock has a huge pressure. Right? It went down from $20 to $4. I think the management probably have a lot of pressure to speak out. If they have any good news, they should come out tomorrow. So I've been buying call options, as I said to my subscribers. I think this one is good. Again, I bought it last year at $3, and I sold most of mine in double digit. Now it dropped to single digit. I bought too early, but I still, it's still very good trade. I'm loading up single digit again. I hope they will go back to double digit.
Well, it's certainly a very interesting platform, new technology, really new chemical approach to chemistry, and it's really. If it really works, Chen, it could be huge. I guess that's the idea.
If it works, it just takes a long time to
market
it. Market it takes a long time. You think about you have a new molecule, and you replace squalene, for example, from shark liver. So they try to save shark. People have to get used to the molecule and then get used to it and notice their brand and start using it, right? So it takes some time, and then their market has been impatient, and recent tax sell-off has hit this really hard. Plus, they missed the Q3 guidance. So they did a big raise, a $650 million raise.
Yeah,
so all these reasons together, the stock dropped from $20 to $4. It's just amazing. One of the most spectacular jobs I've seen.
Yeah. But the point is that its applications are across many different sectors, many different parts of the economy. It's not just the squalene. It's not just squalene for the replacement of the shark. Of avoiding. They can synthetically they create these molecules that are just as they are in nature and can use them. And so that's, I think, the appeal that they can do that. And they have their own.
They are the first one to create a CBG. It's a better version of CBD. CBG, they already have that. They already have that in the makeup, in their products already. They just need to market it and then and to generate cash flow. This year could be a big year for these products.
And they have some manufacturing facilities now that they are also, so they're sort of pretty much vertically integrated, I believe, Chen, aren't they? They're vertically
integrated. They have 2 plants open this year, so that will reduce their cost by 100 basis points. All these things will start to snowballing, right? Start to add on, but market impatient. When they sell, people just sell. What can you do? You have to take advantage of this.
Yeah, well, people like you who have their eyes on the ball are taking advantage of these weaknesses. So thanks so much, Chen, for sharing your thoughts with us. Always appreciate it. And it's chenpicks.com, folks, if you want to sign up for Chen's letter. He keeps his subscribers well up to date on the developments of these things. So it's very valuable subscription, I believe. If you're a serious investor, you might want to consider going to chenpicks.com and signing up for Chen's letter. Thanks so much, Chen.
Thank you, Jay.